All right, guys, back again today, and I'm wanting to talk about this buffer tank. And listen, if you're watching the channel, you already got a buffer tank. You know how they work. You know the advantages of it. I knew the advantages of it, but I had never experienced it before. I replaced that pump last year. Well, I replaced my old pump with this pump last year. This one had an unloader on it. The other one was an old AAA. I had the 10-foot hose, just ran to the bottom because I never bypassed it. But when I hooked this up, I'd always ran the 0G hose. It's a collapsible hose. So when I hooked this up and I started setting my unloader and I was pulling it, it would almost cavitate my pump because it was sucking that hose, like sucking it down. And so it got me thinking, maybe, just maybe, this pump will pull water and I can hook it up to a buffer tank. Well, to be able to do that, I would have to redone my whole skid, which you see that I have done, and it's working out great. But so far this year, I've been on 3 washes. Okay, things are just now getting started here in Tennessee. I've been pushing everybody off. So this last week, I had 3 or 4 washes, one or the other. But anyway, the whole point of having not so much a buffer tank, but just having a tank that I can unload my water in, and it goes around this tank and comes in back there, is so that I can have this thing run continuous if I'm not on the trigger and it not burn my pump up. Okay, so first house wash I go to, I'm finishing up, customer comes out, he says, hey, this looks great, he's amazed by it. Instead of me constantly every 30 seconds hitting a trigger, and spraying, I just sat there and let it run. So the water was coming in from this side and just going out. So it didn't have to worry about my pump burning up or anything. It was great. Go to the second job. I'm finishing up. I got one side left. And customer comes out. He's talking to me. He pays me. Tells me everything looks good. And same thing. Instead of me sitting there having to constantly be on the trigger and release it and worry about my pump being overheated. Did I let off the pump or let off the trigger too much? Did I pull the trigger too much? Whatever, your thoughts are. I didn't have that. So again, the unloader worked. It just came over here, unloaded into this tank. I was good to go. All right, well, this is a 4-gallon a minute machine. Most residential houses are 4 to 6 gallons. Well, I have a guy, he's a repeat customer, and he has a big old house, and let's just say this is his house right here. Well, his water hose is here on the back of the house, but he has the underground ran all the way, and this is a good size house, all the way to the front. Well, somewhere in here he has a leak. So he comes out and he tells me when I pull up, hey, I know your machine needs so much water. I do have a leak in it, so I just wanted to let you know. I didn't want to mess your machine up. So what do I say? That's okay, because now I have a buffer tank. So as we're sitting there talking, that's filling up. It filled up to about right there where that float valve is. So then it cut the water off. I didn't have to be the back and forth with the water, cutting it on and off, cutting it on and off, cutting it on and off, having to worry whether it was going to work or not, having to worry whether my pump was going to overheat because I wasn't getting enough flow to it. I've been on jobs where I didn't have enough water, and I'd pull the trigger and I'd have to let off. Pull the trigger, let off, pull the trigger, let off. And then like an hour house wash took, an hour and a half, 2 hours, because I couldn't be on the water long, it would run out. Having that buffer tank, don't have to worry about that. So that worked out amazing, because I told him, I said, what I have right now is I'm filling the tank up, and he's like, do you need to cut it off? And I said, no, I have a float valve in it, and that float valve will cut it off here in just a second, and I won't have to do that. So I said, I'll have 55 gallons of water as a buffer, so if that little bit of leak that you have affects my machine, now that it won't. So just on 3 washes so far this year, this buffer tank with a red cap has been amazing. I mean amazing. So if you are looking at doing this, I mean, just get you a cheap drum and just a valve and a hose and just hook it up and see if it works. I mean, it doesn't take much, you know. For $20 you could hook all this up and see if it's going to work or not. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that, guys, show you how like important the buffer tank's been to me. I know guys that run bigger machines, 5.5 and 8, that's even more important to them. Mine's just a little bit of a safety because I don't have to worry that much with a 4 gallon a minute machine, but being able to unload that water and stay off the trigger, just like I said, you know, that house that I pulled up to, I'm parked here, my hoses are pulled all the way around this house, and normally I would have pulled the hose here, then brought my gun all the way back around here, started it and jumped to the gun, and then had to, you know, snake my way back through here. Didn't have to do none of that. I could leave my gun there, go start my machine from the truck, and went through here, the garage here, carport, grabbed the gun, and I was able to go. So huge difference, guys, huge difference. But just wanted to hop on here and make this video real quick and just show you what I got going on. I love the buffer tank for the 4 gallon a minute machine. See ya.